This morning when I woke up to my wife shooting video of me with her phone. I went, what's going on? But it turns out she was shooting me to let me know the president gave me another shout out today.
What's that?
Donald Trump.
Jimmy Kimmel has apologized. Is it a good apology? Do you accept the apology?
I haven't heard him apologize, but he's a lowlife. Whether he apologized or not, he's a lowlife. He always has been. He shouldn't be on television. I don't know how a guy can be on television.
Imagine waking up, stretching, and checking your phone, only to find that the President of the United States is once again trying to cancel your job, as if it's just another episode of a bad Netflix series. That's exactly what happened to Jimmy Kimmel. But instead of freaking out, he did something much bolder. He grabbed a microphone. So now the real question is, did Donald Trump just pick a fight he can't win? Or did he accidentally boost Kimmel's ratings?
This is a big night for Trump. He absolutely loves being alongside the royals, and the idea that they have to kiss his ass is as bigly as it gets for him. The king, he laid it on thick. He came bearing exactly the kind of gift Trump loves to get, a big gold thing with his name on it.
Network gets free airwaves from the United States government and spend 100% of his time knocking Republicans and conservatives and Trump 100% of his time. It's not supposed to.
Before we dive deeper, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe, because you definitely don't want to miss this one. At this point, getting insulted by Donald Trump feels like just another part of the daily routine, somewhere between brushing your teeth and checking if the world is still intact. But this time, the message wasn't just another jab. It was a full-blown demand to shut it down, fire the host, and apparently rescue television from the so-called catastrophe of one late-night show.
I haven't even been fired once. How can I be fired again?
He posted again. He's calling for you to be fired because you're unfunny and you're low-rated.
Well, those are good reasons.
Let's get out of bed and deal with this.
So then I unearthed myself from all 30 of our pillows.
Imagine waking up halfway through a dream and realizing your spouse is filming you as if you were about to go viral for something you definitely didn't sign up for, only to find that the leader of the free world has decided that your job status is now a national issue. That raises a funny question that gets even funnier the more you think about it. How exactly do you get fired again when you've never been fired in the first place?
The White House Correspondents' Dinner, if you don't know, it used to be an annual event before Trump showed up, but every year they'd have a comedian roast the room. The president, the vice president, members of the press, everybody got roasted. I did it once, I hosted it, it was a lot of fun. But this year, they said no comedian, we're bringing in a mentalist instead. So on Thursday, 3 days before the event, in order to keep that cherished tradition alive, I did my own version of the Correspondents' Dinner on my show. I put on a tuxedo. We pretended we had an audience of luminaries. We used old footage of the Trumps,
That question alone tells you everything about the strange rhythm of this feud. It's not just criticism, it's almost theatrical. Like a rerun of a show that insists it's brand new, complete with the same punchlines about being unfunny and low-rated. It's as though repetition might eventually turn opinion into fact, or at least into a trending topic.
One of the 25 pairs of reading glasses off my nightstand, and I see the following. When is ABC Fake News Network firing seriously unfunny Jimmy Kimmel, who incompetently presides over one of the lowest rated shows on television? People are angry. It better be soon. Or what? You'll Thank you for booing. I appreciate it. If incompetently presiding over not just one of, but the lowest rating in history is the reason.
Instead of treating it like a crisis, Jimmy Kimmel leaned into the absurdity. When the criticism sounds like it was copy-pasted from a comment section, the only logical response is to turn it into comedy material, which is exactly what he did by digging up the actual post and reading it aloud, letting the words do most of the work, while the audience filled in the rest with laughter. the irony quietly builds because the very act of complaining about ratings on a public platform guarantees more attention than any ratings chart ever could.
Vance, Kid Rock, Vanilla Ice, all the members of his cabinet. And we made it seem like they were all together in a room. We had a little roast. Again, this was Thursday, and there was no big reaction to it until this morning when I greeted the day facing yet another Twitter vomit storm. And a call to fire me from our First Lady, Melania Trump, saying I should be fired because of a joke I made, again, 5 nights ago. It was a pretend roast. I said, our First Lady Melania is here. Look at her, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant witch.
The humor lands even harder when it exaggerates reality just enough to reveal the truth underneath, turning the situation into a surreal war metaphor where nations and late-night hosts are treated as equally urgent adversaries. It sounds ridiculous until you realize the rhetoric is already halfway there. Then, a twist adds unexpected complexity. While the attacks keep coming, some political figures step in to defend something that's easy to overlook until it's challenged. The idea that speech, even the kind that stings, shouldn't be policed by those in power.
Both be out of a job because you're not doing too good either. He also called into Newsmax this afternoon to call me a lowlife and demand I be fired again. This guy is so mad at you. You would think I posted a picture of seashells or something. Isn't there a war dragging on? Imagine if FDR had taken to the airwaves during the Battle of the Bulge to complain about a Little Orphan Annie comic strip he didn't like. Trump has 3...
The tension builds as past statements resurface. Declarations about rejecting censorship and cancel culture, promises to protect free speech, and the irony practically writes itself when those words are placed side by side with calls to remove someone for doing exactly what free speech allows them to do. It sharpens into something more revealing because it's no longer just about jokes or ratings. It's about consistency, or the lack of it. And the realization lands with a kind of reluctant clarity that feels both obvious and strangely surprising at the same time.
It was a very light roast joke about the fact that he's almost 80 and she's younger than I am. It was not, by any stretch of the definition, a call to assassination, and they know that. I've been very vocal for many years speaking out against gun violence in particular, but I understand that the First Lady had a stressful experience over the weekend, and probably every weekend is pretty stressful in that house. And also, I agree that hateful and violent rhetoric is something we should reject. I do, and I think a great place to start to dial that back would be to have a conversation with you.
This is when the comedy takes a full satirical turn, highlighting how absurd the overlap between politics and entertainment has become. If the same tone is used for geopolitical conflicts and late-night TV, then something has gone off script in the larger narrative. The escalation continues, not with anger, but with exaggeration, imagining scenarios where negotiations are needed to resolve what is essentially a comedic rivalry. The situation turns into a parody of diplomacy that somehow feels uncomfortably close to reality.
Ukrainians and comedians, and I do want to commend the small handful of Republicans who've spoken out to support our First Amendment rights. Senator Ted Cruz again, Senator Rand Paul again, and Congressman James Comer. Every one of these guys I've made fun of repeatedly and viciously on this show. And you know what not one of them has done? Pressured ABC to fire me for it. You know, I'll say another thing.
Beneath the humor, there's a quieter thread running through the entire situation. It suggests that these distractions are not entirely accidental. While the spotlight is fixed on a late-night feud, there are larger stories unfolding in the background. Stories about policies, conflicts, and decisions that carry far more weight than any joke ever could.
Donald and Melania, who lately have seemed closer than ever, and I like to think I played a part in that. Watch them here and watch their hands, if you will, as they enter with the king and queen, because the hands say so much. Melania's wearing gloves. There's the king and the queen. And here we go. Yeah.
The narrative subtly shifts toward those bigger issues, pointing out how easily focus can be redirected. Conversations are steered away from uncomfortable topics and towards something more entertaining. The realization lingers that sometimes the loudest arguments are not the most important ones. Yet the cycle continues, with new statements, reactions, and new layers of irony stacking on top of each other, creating an ongoing spectacle that feels less like a debate and more like a performance, where both sides play their roles and the audience is left to decide what to take seriously.
During the campaign for president, there was a man, a very prominent Republican man, who seemed to be against this idea of muzzling people you don't agree with.
We reject censorship, blacklisting, and cancel culture because we know that the lifeblood of a free society is free speech.
Ridiculous cancel culture will be wiped out entirely.
Cancel culture. I hate the term, actually. Cancel culture. I'm not a believer in cancel.
As this spectacle continues, it becomes clear that the bigger issue is not whether the host will be fired, but how much larger the spectacle has grown. Every time the story seems to reach its peak, another twist appears, another comment is made, and the entire narrative resets itself with enough variation to keep it going. What's more important than the outcome is the process, the bizarre process that keeps drawing people in.
Sorry that you and the president and everyone in that room on Saturday went through that. I really am. Just because no one got killed doesn't mean it wasn't traumatic and scary. And we should come together and be best. We really should. But if you want us to believe that a joke I made 3 days before this dinner had any effect on anything that happened, well, then maybe someone should look into this psychic lady too.
This speech tonight will be classic Donald J. Trump. It'll be funny, it'll be entertaining, there will be some shots fired.
And maybe that's the real story hiding beneath all the jokes. When a late-night monologue becomes part of a political conversation and a political statement becomes part of a comedy routine, the lines stop being clear. What remains is something far more unpredictable, chaotic, and, in its own strange way, far more entertaining than anyone originally intended. Just when the chaos feels like it's reached its peak, the story pivots again, daring you to keep up. Meanwhile, the headlines keep arguing over who belongs on television, while something far more revealing happens quietly behind the scenes.
Listen, I hope it doesn't get me in trouble. I'm starting to think Donald Trump might be a hypocrite. I also noticed something interesting. Put the post from this morning back up. Okay. When is ABC Fake News Network firing seriously unfunny Jimmy Kimmel, who incompetently presides over one of the lowest rated shows on television? People are angry. It better be soon. Okay. So this is what the president posted yesterday about Iran. Iran can't get their act together. They don't know how to sign a non-nuclear deal. They better get smart soon. Why am I getting the same threats he's giving to Iran?
There's a growing sense that everything is connected, even when it pretends not to be. That realization adds a layer of tension building beneath the surface because it suggests the stakes are higher than they seem. The conversation, wrapped in humor, serves as a clever distraction, whether intentional or not, keeping the audience engaged with something that feels immediate and entertaining, while the deeper shifts happen quietly, without the same level of scrutiny or debate.
Anybody else coming? Hello? Little tap. And all right, okay. Yeah, there you go. You know what? Considering the week I've had with the first couple, I'm just going to say that is a completely normal way to interact for two people who are very much in love.
And through it all, Jimmy Kimmel continues to do what he has always done. Take whatever's thrown at him and turn it into material. Instead of ignoring it, he amplifies the absurdity until it becomes impossible to take at face value. This approach flips the dynamic entirely, turning criticism into fuel, attacks into content, and what could have been a problem into an ongoing storyline that benefits from every new development. It's a reminder that in entertainment, control doesn't come from avoiding controversy. Sometimes it comes from embracing it.